Have you ever questioned your own worth? Even after doing everything right? Do you find yourself struggling to trust your decisions? Always seeking permission from the outside? Or maybe you've succeeded on paper, but inside, something still feels unstable, like you're walking on ground that was never solid to begin with. What if that feeling isn't about what's missing in your present, but what went unspoken in your past? What if the key to your self-confidence, your sense of identity, your inner authority, was forged in your earliest relationship with your father? This video isn't about judgment. It's about illumination, understanding, liberation. If you're ready to explore how the father archetype shapes the core of who you are and how you show up in the world, you're in the right place. Carl Jung, the father, wasn't just a man. He was an archetype, a symbolic structure embedded deep within the psyche. The father archetype represents order, discipline, boundary, protection. It's the force that gives shape to chaos. The hand that says, "This is who you are. This is how the world works." Whether our fathers were present or absent, kind or cruel, passive or overbearing, their influence didn't stop at childhood. It became the framework through which we build our identity. When we are small, we look to our fathers to define our place in the world. We seek their affirmation to feel that we matter. We absorb their energy, their worldview, their treatment of us, and it becomes our inner voice. So what happens when the father wound is left unhealed? What if your father was never really there? What if he was physically present but emotionally distant? What if he was angry, unpredictable, impossible to please? Or what if he was idolized, so perfect in your mind that you never felt good enough? Each scenario leaves a different kind of mark, but they all lead to the same emotional core, a fractured sense of self, an inability to trust your own authority, a hunger for external validation, a deep, quiet fear of never being enough. We become adults who strive endlessly, not because we love the journey, but because we're still trying to win the father's approval we never received. And often, we're not even aware we're doing it. Jung taught that what we do not make conscious, we project. And the father wound is one of the most common projections we carry. We project the unmet expectations onto bosses, mentors, partners, spiritual leaders. We look to them not just for guidance, but for confirmation that we're worthy, that we are safe, that we matter. And when they disappoint us, it's not just a current hurt. It echoes the pain of the past. This is how emotional patterns continue, even when we think we've moved on. Until we recognize the projection, we unconsciously hand over our power to anyone who reminds us of the father. So many people live lives ruled by outer authority. They follow the rules, they check the boxes, they perform. But inside they feel hollow, because the voice that says, "You're enough," never got internalized. The father wound often leaves us emotionally overextended, uncertain, afraid to make mistakes. We don't trust our intuition. We defer to others. We wait for permission. But healing doesn't come from rebellion. It doesn't come from doing the opposite of what your father did. It comes from integration, from reclaiming your inner authority and becoming the father you never had for yourself. Jung called this the process of individuation, becoming whole, not by rejecting your father, but by seeing him clearly, as a man, not a god, not a villain, just a man, with his own wounds, his own limitations, his own unconsciousness. When you stop trying to change the past and start choosing your present, you take the first real step toward freedom. Ask yourself, who do I become when I stop waiting for approval? Who am I when I stop performing? Where in my life have I outsourced my authority? Where am I still trying to earn love instead of giving it to myself? These are the questions that unlock the door to transformation. Healing the father wound isn't a single moment. It's a series of conscious choices. Here are a few you can begin today. 1. Write a letter to your father without filter. Say everything you never said. Grieve what you never received. Speak the truth without shame. 2. Notice your emotional triggers. When you feel dismissed, criticized, or unseen, pause. Ask, is this wound about now, or is it older? 3. Reflect on the voice in your head. Is it yours, or does it sound like someone else? If it's filled with shame, pressure, or fear, it's not your voice. It's borrowed. You can choose a new one. 4. Practice fathering yourself. Set boundaries. Hold yourself accountable. Offer encouragement. Be both protector and guide. Reparenting doesn't mean doing it alone. It means becoming the adult presence you once needed. Release the ideal. Maybe your father will never change. Maybe he's gone. But the relationship isn't over, because now it lives in you. You get to decide how it continues. Your father may have written the first chapter, but the rest of the book, that's yours to write. His absence, his silence, his rage, or even his perfection. None of it defines your worth. You are not bound by the patterns you inherited. You are not the unfinished business of your father's soul. You are your own becoming. And as you bring conscious attention to the father wound, you don't just heal yourself. You change what gets passed forward. You become the man or the woman who carries strength with compassion, authority with humility, discipline with love. This is the work of breaking cycles, of building inner stability, of finally standing on solid ground. And it begins when you stop waiting for someone else to tell you who you are. You already know. You've just forgotten, but you're remembering now. Because in the end, healing doesn't begin with rejecting your father. It begins with understanding him, and then choosing differently.